Well, Labor and the Coalition will need to work twice as hard to secure the support of younger Australians as new research reveals Gen Z are abandoning the major parties in droves. Gen Z are now polling the Greens ahead of Labor. The Coalition has an even greater problem as the demographic shifts away from conservative politics. Joining me now is Redbridge Group Director Simon Welsh. Simon, you've always got a few pearls of wisdom from these focus groups, but a few warnings for the major parties. And I've got to say, the hits keep on coming. What have you come up with this week?
Yeah, thanks, Laura. It's been remarkable. Yeah, we've been speaking to a lot of younger people. I'm sort of talking voters under the age of sort of 25, and coming through, increasing in their sort of electoral importance. So I think that the things that we're going to talk about today are not so much issues now, but the sort of issues for, I think sort of 5-10 years into the future, a few more electoral cycles down the track. But certainly what we're seeing is amongst these younger voters is just a complete disenchantment with the major party system. And there's a bunch of reasons for it, but what it really comes back to is the younger folk coming through. Yes, they're kind of socially progressive, like the millennials before them, but they have this degree of economic progressivism, for want of a better expression, that wasn't there with the millennials, or at least not so much. And it's a really profound sort of sense of a disconnect with capitalism, and they talk about that in the focus groups, the problems with capitalism. And it's not kind of it's inauthentic to sell out and become corporate and all that. It's not that sort of thing that we've seen with previous generations. What they talk about is how their experiences of capitalism have been basically defined by corporate predation. Whether that's around wages, whether it's around pricing, whether it's around climate, all these things, they feel like they're on the boot end of corporate predation. And they see the two major parties at the very worst, sort of tolerating that, and at worst, being complicit and supporting it. And so there's this profound sort of economic disconnect that then flows through to this political disconnect that's causing horrendous problems for the major parties in these younger folk. And as I say, we're sort of seeing their vote intention being stronger for the Greens than even it is for Labor. And this is not just an inner city phenomenon. I'd hate for you to think this is just, we're talking about inner city trendies. This is outer suburban, this is regional. There is something very profound happening with this sort of next generation of voters that are coming through.
Right, so what is it that's concerning them the most? I mean, I was talking about wind farms with Pete Stefanovic a little earlier in the program, and he was saying essentially that perhaps there's been a misjudgment about this, that, all greenies love wind farms, but they're not. They're concerned about the collateral damage they do, etc. And is this perhaps why Jim Chalmers has recently talked about values-based capitalism?
Yeah, look, it ties into that, and absolutely, climate is a key concern, but it's not the only thing. You get these folk in the groups. I would describe them as not engaged in the political game. Like if you ask them, who's the minister for this, who's the minister for that, they wouldn't be able to tell you. Very few people can. But deeply issues engaged, and real nuance around the issues. Ideas around policy solutions, what government should be doing, and those sorts of things. So you get them in the groups. Absolutely, climate's important, but equally they will talk about housing reform, and not sort of sensationalist band-aid kind of stuff, but these are the deep structures that we need to be addressing.